My client, Jonathan Donahue, is not guilty of his actions in that Burger King because he is unable to distinguish right from wrong. When he entered that establishment and beat Mr. Porter, he had no idea that what he was doing was wrong. That's a difficult concept for us to grasp, but understanding his mental health provides the necessary information to conclude he ultimately is not responsible for his actions. My client was unaware his actions were wrong. Jonathan is a diagnosed psychopath. Now, we've heard from Dr. Jeremiah Bloor that psychopathy is indeed a clinical diagnosis characterized by such things as impulsivity, irresponsibility, shallow emotions, lack of empathy, guilt, remorse, pathological lying, manipulation, superficial charm, and the persistent violation of social norms. Now, the point here is that psychopathy is unique. It's different from psychopathology and sociopathy in that it arises specifically from an impaired emotional processing system. An individual claiming insanity, legally speaking, is not necessarily a psychopath, and a psychopath is not necessarily insane. Once again, psychopathy is unique and not to be hid under an umbrella of any other medical or legal term for that matter. Psychopaths have a broken emotional system, according to Dr. Bloor. They're without conscience and do not experience empathy like you or I do. We've confirmed my client's diagnosis by use of a psychopathy checklist. Now, this test is validated, a very useful and effective diagnostic tool. It scores subjects on 20 behavioral items. Each is scored on as a 0, 1, or 2. The final score, between 0 and 40, indicates whether the subject should be diagnosed as a psychopath. Adults who score above a 30 on the test are diagnosed as psychopaths. My client scored a 34 on the diagnostic tool that, once again, is well respected and a valuable diagnostic tool. Dr. Bloor goes on to add that there is no treatment at this time for psychopathy. At this point, I want to return to Dr. Bloor's comments on moral socialization, which is the process by which humans discern and learn between right and wrong. He explains that when children harm someone, they recognize the distress they've caused and consequently understand the implications of their actions and deem those actions inappropriate. Now, psychopaths do not and cannot experience moral socialization in the same way because of their disorder. How can we reasonably hold Jonathan responsible when he never was able to learn right from wrong in the same way? Dr. Roger here supports and furthers this argument and talks about the idea of a dysfunctional moral socialization. Now, he goes on to explain the violence inhibition mechanism. Now, essentially, this mechanism creates anxiety in normal humans when they recognize other humans in pain or distress. Now, a genetically induced dysfunctional violence inhibition mechanism provides further evidence to suggest that my client does not understand right from wrong like the rest of us. His mechanism does not work in the same way. Dr. here also presented peer-reviewed publications that discuss the implications of the MAOA enzyme. Now, individuals with the gene for low MAOA activity are more likely to engage in antisocial behavior. My client Donahue was genetically tested, and his genes confer low MAOA enzyme activity. A second genetic disposition again contributes significantly to the actions of my client, and he certainly cannot be held fully responsible for his actions because of unfortunate genetic makeup. After reviewing what we've heard here from these experts in their field, well-respected individuals, considering the clinical diagnosis of psychopathy, as well as the unlucky genetic disposition of my client, it becomes evident, if not obvious, that Jonathan Donahue is not able to distinguish right from wrong, and the mitigating circumstances require full consideration in this case. Thank you.